What's good with it? It's your boy, Simon Phoenix. This is Shots Fired. What up, what up, what up? So as we slide into another fun-filled episode, happens to be a Monday late night rant. Now, why is it on a Monday and unnecessarily late and everybody sleep? Is because my 4th of July was lit, filled with entertainment that was not conducive for doing a show. I will get into that a tad bit later. So, first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to give you guys an analysis of something that I got to listen to with Judge Joe Brown and Mark Lamont Hill. And they're discussing Bill Crosby. And I gave my breakdown, and I stand behind my breakdown. But I want to let Judge Brown cook for my personal analysis of that. So I figured, let's try something different on the rant. Give them a little taste of some in-depth, right? Breakdown. So this is Joe Brown answering. I'm going to let Joe Brown cook for probably about 5 minutes or so. So here's the question that Judge Brown has posed and what he says.
Nobody's feelings get hurt. Freedom of speech gets restricted if somebody feels uncomfortable or undelighted by what is being said. That's not our reality.
So let me ask you a question. When George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin and the jury found him not guilty, do you feel that the black community should not have continued to express outrage and call George Zimmerman a killer because under the law he was innocent?
They should express outrage with themselves for lacking such political influence in the selection of the district attorney or in the even weight assigned to them. See, the rules are the same. But from my perspective, I think of all the black folk that have called me over the last 35 of jury service, all of the black folk that voted a handout where you've got a racist idiot on that handout for judge and they don't even pay attention to who's on the ballot. I think of all of the black folk who don't go out and vote for sheriff or effectively for mayor or for the district attorney and complain about it. See, when you have an opportunity to do something about it, do it. And see, most of the people that are off in the penitentiaries are not in there for playing Robin Hood. They robbed from their neighbors, burglarized their neighbors, killed their neighbors, raped their neighbors, sold poison to their neighbors. And the other thing is, it's not guns. It's not any excuse. It's we have got a lack of manhood and masculinity in our neighborhoods. See, masculinity is the imposition of a set of behavioral standards on a boy. So when the boy grows into a man, he has some things he has to do that he cannot get away with, that he is compelled to look to, making where he lives a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, morality, and ethics. He is a man of public peace, dignity, and order, who is a man of peace, who can be a brave and courageous man when necessary. See, we have to start taking
Judge, let me pause you for a minute.
Back.
We're going to take a Judge, I want to hear more about that, Judge. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break and bring you right back. I'm going to push you on some of those things as well. Stay with me. We got more Black News Tonight coming up right after this. Welcome back to Black News Tonight. We're talking Bill Crosby and the aftermath of his case. I'm here with Judge Joe Brown. Judge, again, early in the conversation, we sort of stipulated to the legal parts of this, and we both agree that everyone deserves the right to due process and no one should be sitting in prison or jail for something that they either didn't do or if their rights are violated or both. But you've also raised this interesting question that I think is worth unpacking a bit, and that's about ethics and morality within the black community and holding each other accountable and talking about manhood and masculinity. if we, again, assuming Bill Cosby doesn't take the legal stuff off the table, if we look at the depositions, the very thing that got him ultimately, the thing that ultimately got him locked up, and those depositions, and he's talking about the various women he had sex with giving them alcohol and pills, whether it's Quaaludes or Benadryl. If you look at the dozens of women who come forward and accuse him, is there room to say, look, Bill Cosby can come home because the prosecutor was wrong, but Bill Cosby also has to be accountable for what he represents and for acts of and for predator-like behavior?
What about these women being accountable for their own behavior? They were groupies. Well, sex, drugs, rock and roll, sex, drugs, rap, sex, drugs, baseball, football, basketball, movies, television. See.
Yeah, but right now I'm talking about Bill Cosby. I'm saying
we forgot what that term meant. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. The bimbos come to the party. They hang out. They get drunk. They snort lines of blow, and they have a good time. They use the hall closets to give head, the bathrooms to get down, and you go in to get your coat off of the bed, and they're laying on top of it doing somebody. See, that's what that's about. So,
yeah, but Judge, it has to be consensual, though.
30, 40, 50 years after something was in big-time style. When this stuff started out, the sexual revolution was going on. And a lot of women got into it deeply.
Okay, but so there's two things you raised. But first, let's talk about Bill Cosby. We can talk about the women, but let's talk about Bill Cosby. Let's talk about Bill Cosby for a second, because that's the person we're talking about. My question was, is there room to what did he do? Well, according to the deposition, he gave women pills, and in one deposition, he specifically said he didn't know whether.
Force it down their throat,
no, let me finish.
He didn't take advantage of them. Look at that interview Whoopi Goldberg did with that model Johnson. Whoopi got all so wait a minute. You're trying to tell me that
hold on, Judge. Let me ask the question.
Found out you were high, he called a cab, took the elevator down with you, put you in the cab, paid your fare, tipped the man, and sent you home because you were high? So what did he do?
So in one deposition, so Judge, in one deposition specifically, when he was asked the question, was he sure that the woman was sober enough to consent? He said, "I don't know." But there's a bigger question here: is if someone willingly takes pills and becomes high and drunk, can they legally consent?
Sometimes you can. Used to be you could. They had a change in there back 25 years ago when they were saying, no, you can't. But before that, basically, you could. That's why they told you.
But we're talking about the law. So then, Judge, again, since you're saying we should appeal to the law, if the law says that you can't be
intoxication, where you did something to them they didn't consent to. See, that's when that law started changing from you got yourself drunk, you are responsible to know the bartender's responsible because he lets you get drunk. That's when that change started coming
Bill
about.
Cosby's admitting, Bill Cosby's admitting to giving women alcohol and pills for the purpose of having sex, and if by the law you can't consent if you're drunk or high,
go out to dinner or you have a party or something. So
yeah, but that's not the same. That's irrelevant, Judge.
Because they do something they would have done anyway. A whole lot of them I knew back in the years would take sexual assault, particularly Quaaludes. They did that a lot. I had a lot of female clients I had to get out of messes because they had a fondness for Quaaludes. It's not cool,
yeah, but it's okay to take.
Don't you bear any responsibility for this, especially if you keep going back?
So, Judge, let me. I want to lay this out plainly, just so, and I'll give you a chance to respond. I'll even give you the last word. If you give someone drugs and alcohol, even if they want to take the drugs and alcohol, if they get to a point where they are inebriated, where they are high or drunk, you cannot have sex with them. It is not sex; it becomes rape. And even by the legal standard that you're saying we should appeal to,
that's only the law in certain states. It's not for every state. And it goes into the same philosophy. It goes into the same thing. I didn't know I was going to get that drunk, so it ain't my fault I got a DUI and kill somebody. How you think that's going to float?
Right, but the difference is the
Plus,
drunk
you
person has a
have people
responsibility to
on
not.
the East Coast who want a
The
new
drunk person has a
category of
responsibility
felony
not to
rape.
get into the
It's
car,
called rape
but
by
the drunk person
seduction.
does not have a
In other words, you
responsibility
take a
not to
woman
get the
out and you
responsibility.
decide to
If
have
we're
a
talking
good
about
meal,
responsibility,
linen,
if we're talking
candlelight,
about
wine, dine.
responsibility,
You go for a walk in the park, my place or yours. Get over there, kissy, kissy, poo, seduction, clothes come off. Everybody has a good time. This crowd wants that to be called
this isn't everybody
felony
isn't having a
rape
good
by
time. One person's
seduction.
being assaulted. Right, but what I'm saying, Judge, is, and I
Nobody's,
got to
see,
run.
that's the point. He never admitted to what he did, was accused of, which is
How many people in your courtroom admitted
unlawfully.
to what they did
All
that
he
were
did was
guilty?
they
Do
asked
you say
for it,
that?
I supplied it. They wanted it.
Okay, this
That's
is
like put
just
some
flat out rape
candles
at this
on and
point.
some incense when we do it. Let's go out and have
No,
a fine meal. Some Pinot Noir, some
this is
Cabernet
disgusting.
Sauvignon
Giving
to go
somebody.
with the prime rib and the lobster. And then we, after we leave the 5-star restaurant, we got a nice walk in the park.
This honestly is, with all due respect, is the most disturbing interview I've ever had in my life.
No, but see, you are
we're
into this thing where everybody's got to be protected. This society does not work when the society's obligation is to protect somebody from being stupid. You protect somebody's rights
to protect somebody from being
to
raped. But we got to
exercise
go,
their
Judge Joe Brown.
discretion
We can have a
appropriately,
conversation, but
you
I
can't
got to run
protect
commercial
them
break.
from
I'm
themselves.
way past commercial
Just
break.
like you can't protect somebody from liability for killing someone in a fatal DUI because the bartender didn't stop serving them when they kept asking.
Unfortunately, I got to run. We're way past commercial break. I know you understand that. Thank you for joining the show. Let us.
I love. Oh my goodness, I love Joe Brown. The judge is so on point. It's ridiculous. Excuse me. It's ridiculous. It's so comical for people like me. So here's the breakdown, right? So what Judge Joe Brown is essentially saying is this: that Bill Cosby is not a sexual predator. Based on right now, today, if you was a hot rapper and women came to your room and they had alcohol with you and they wanted to smoke blunts and you had the weed, they wanted to do Molly Percocet, your mans had some of them, they gave them to him, y'all had sex. That it is unfair at that point that she knew she was accepting and asking for these drugs, to then hold the men responsible by saying it could have been rape based on I got blowed, I can't consent. Where is your accountability for the ladies? Where is that the hell at? Because even in the deposition, when you talk about Bill Cosby, Bill never says, I gave women drugs when they weren't looking. I snuck them on them. I slipped them a Mickey. Bill says none of that. Bill says, hey, some times where cats asked me for Quaaludes, I gave them to them. I'm sure in his youth when chicks said, hey, where is the scotch? He said, it's over there. Right? So for you to come back 30, 40 years later and say, hey, once upon a time I hung out with Bill and Bill gave me some pills, or once upon a time I hung out with Bill, he gave me some weed, or once upon a time I hung out with Bill, gave me some coke, and we had sex. He took it from me because I was blowed. Wait, where is your accountability? See, what we missed to see was you heard the words Quaalude and sex and you immediately thought that Bill slipped him a Mickey. That's what you thought. And that's why everybody wants to hold Bill to this such a evil guy standard. But in reality, Bill is saying, hey, during this time period, people did Quaaludes like y'all do Xannies. Let me say that again. People do Quaaludes like y'all do Xannies. So it is the same type thing. You was doing it for the party, for the fun of it. Bill wasn't giving you the drugs to have sex. Bill was giving you the drugs because that's what you asked for. He asked you, did you want some? You said, yeah. The same way a person would ask you if you want some liquor. Same way a person would ask you if you want some weed. The accountability should still be on you. And what Judge Joe Brown was so eloquently doing is saying, look, the accountability have to be on women because these were groupie women to begin with. It's obvious to see. And so for y'all to be attacking the fact that, well, Bill's not exonerated. Well, Bill doesn't need to be exonerated. You never proved Bill guilty of the crime that you're trying to hang on Bill's head. You're trying to make up the extra crime part. No, there was not anyone getting slipped a Mickey. Jeepers. It's the contents of the conversation and y'all not paying attention. You are going by feelings. And then how you did Felicia Rashard. Complained and said that she should lose her job because she stood by her friend, knowing what the situation was. Women was accusing him of rape, but he had never did anything to anyone based off the fact he felt like you asked for it. I asked you, you said yes. If I asked you, did you want some money? And then you're going to say, well, the money blinded me into doing things that I didn't want to do. That's where we going next? Because that's what it feels like. I'm always screaming accountability because it's unfair when people do wrong. And then you like, well, just let them buy this time. But you don't do that for everybody because you like them. It's okay. But when you have been swayed not to like them anymore, then it's a problem. Then it's a issue. I just find that to be crazy. Just crazy. So I need y'all to stop saying that Bill is a sexual predator, right? No, Bill was the everyday regular guy because what happened to Bill could happen to any of us as men. We have been in situations where women say, hey, can I get some alcohol? Yup. Hey, I got some weed. Yup. And some of us know the dudes with the other drugs, so we said, yup. And that's the case you can eat now. She's not culpable for her behavior. And that's wrong. That's why we on accountability. That's the theme for tonight is accountability. She has to be accountable for her actions. And we're not talking about, see, it becomes a sticky slope because people are going to be like, well, what's the level of blow? People who drink know exactly what you're talking about. People who smoke weed know exactly what you're talking about. And people who do coke know exactly what you're talking about. Where is the threshold where you like, oh, the person was sloppy falling down and you had sex with them and that's obviously dirtbaggy and they ain't know nothing about it. Got you. Let's get that out the way fast. Got you. I totally understand that. But there's a difference between that and, hey, you came to hang out with me. I'm a celebrity. Hey, I've been kicking it with you. You love to smoke and drink. I asked you, did you? You said, yep. You had your own. It was, yep. Because that makes it dangerous for men. That means that men are always in the line of fire for being rapists and having that hung over their head. And that was the real reason why you seen that Bill Cosby didn't want to take those classes, because he felt like he was never guilty. He felt like, yo, I asked them, I never snuck it on them, so therefore I never did anything wrong. They drink, they smoke, they party, they fuck. That's what it is. So I totally understand that, right? Accountability. Let's slide out real quick for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Stock the bar vodka made right here in Michigan. Distilled from Michigan red winter wheat. The red winter wheat provides this drink with one of the smoothest flavors known to man. Stock the bar vodka, premium quality. Our motto is smooth taste with a purpose. And now, the official sponsor of Shots Fired Podcast. Stock the bar vodka. Pour up a glass. Drink with a purpose.
Yeah, you know what it is. Shots Fired Podcast popping.
Hey! Remember when back in the days when you used to jump on the dance floor when you heard a groove like this, but your body just won't let you do it any longer? Well, hey, I got the situation set for you, baby. What you need to do is get with Earl's Asper Cream. That's right, Earl's Asper Cream. Earl's Asper Cream is made from the finest ingredients in America. That's right, here in America, baby. And anyway, Earl's Asper Cream is good for those hurting knees, that bad back, those elbows, and those shoulders. And if you don't want to take it from me, then go ahead and listen to one of Earl's happy customers.
Let me tell you, get yourself some Earl's Asper Cream, baby. I had a fracture, fucked up hip. I was sitting there in a nursing home of all places. I sat there, I was up and down that nursing home after I sat there and took some Earl's Asper Cream. And I ain't no nurse, baby. Earl's Asper Cream gave me that marathon strength.
That's right, Earl's Asper Cream. Side effects may include bigger balls, increased sex drive, harder erection, larger semen release, growth of facial hair, slide while you're walking, and a strong pullout game. That's right, baby. Earl's Asper Cream, here to help you get your groove back.
Brought to you by Mindbender Incorporated in association with Ashy Radio.
Welcome back to Shots Fired with Simon Phoenix.
Yo! So, that's kind of like the real breakdown for what's going on with Bill Cosby and how that seems to be. It just has to be one of those things. So it's just like, you know, when it comes to a person and what they have going on, when you say, hey, this is your deal and we ain't gonna lock you up. And then 10 years later, someone says, hey, I don't agree with none of that. I'm going to pick it up and do that. Well, yo, you broke the agreement. So that's why Bill got out. But for y'all to still run around and say that Bill is a sexual predator based off the fact that Bill was overly honest by saying, yo, yeah, I gave some chicks some Quaaludes. And y'all forget that there was a time period where Quaaludes was just like somebody getting some Xannies, some Mollies. That's what people were doing. And he says, hey, I asked them and they say yes. So that's not, hey, I drugged you. And so the conversation then turns into, well, were they too intoxicated? And then Bill says he don't know because you don't know what Bill was doing. Did nobody stop and say, well, Bill, how many drinks did you have? Well, I had 8 drinks and I smoked 2 blunts and I don't do those type of drugs. I just do that. That's my thing. And so then, you know, I was on my freaky deaky. So if you got to hold Bill accountable, then what's to say that she wasn't a sexual aggressor? See, we assume that Bill is the sexual aggressor in this whole argument based on that he's a man. But these are women who are looking at a man of major wealth. So it is not far-fetched for us to think that these women could have been the sexual aggressors. So what if the shoe was on the other foot? What if it's really that they raped Bill Cosby? How do we know that Bill Cosby wasn't getting plastered and then these women was having their way with him? See, because you're a man, you're instantly put in the place of predator because you're supposed to be stronger. And society automatically gives women the benefit of the doubt. Because that's really what this boils down to. This story will be totally different if Bill Cosby was a woman. Because people automatically assumed, that Bill Cosby was the predator in this. But it's funny that we all take it in that manner. Instead of saying, what did Bill have to gain besides sex from taking it from? I mean, Bill has major money. So what did Bill have to gain? Nothing. Bill could have just hired some freaky broads. I'm telling you what this is, but I know people are not going to like it. But really what this is Bill got caught being the nice guy on his freaky guy stuff. And women came to use that against him. And because he was honest, because of the deal that was set up so he wouldn't have to be prosecuted. Because 10 years later, somebody else said, I'm going to try to make a name for myself based off the fact that women don't have to be accountable for their actions. Because at no time did Bill Cosby say, I slipped him a Mickey. Once again, I repeat that. At no time did Bill say, I slipped him a Mickey. So we presume, or should I say, we assume that Bill gave them the drugs in order to have sex with them instead of the truth, which is Bill gave them the drugs because they like drugs. That's really the truth. That's really what's going on. Bill gave you drugs because you like drugs. That's what it was. Whether you took the Benadryl because you had a sniffy nose, or you was taking the Quaaludes because you liked the feeling, or you was smoking the blunts, or you was drinking the vodka. You was taking the drugs because you liked them. And we're pretending that you're not, under the idea that Bill gave you the drugs so Bill can have sex with you, therefore Bill is a sexual predator, instead of, no, these people like drugs. Just like you, as the person listening, likes alcohol. Some of y'all that would love for a chick to come to your house and be like, I brung the Remy, what's up? You can't wait to get loose. You like, oh yeah, she done brung the Remy, she ready. Now, what if she have her way with you? And then next thing you know, you like, hey, I didn't say yes. I was blowed. I was super blowed. And I just woke up and she was on top of me, screaming right on cowboy. Then the slope gets real sticky then, right? But no one's going to say nothing about that. That's not going to happen. That's not even going to be a conversation. In the background, you hear the magical thunderstorm going on. So, anyway, my opinion is that in reality, Bill Cosby really did nothing. And he got caught up in talking too much and saying trigger things for society. And I think that y'all being mad at Felicia Rashad is just silly. Or making dumbass memes. That's just me. I'm just saying. So, now the next thing I want to do to piggyback off accountability, right? Because I'm always talking about being I'm a huge supporter of firearms and black ownership of firearms. So when hood shit happen and it's goofy, silly, or crazy, I am one of those people to say, yo, that's that bullshit. That's that bullshit. Because I know it makes firearms look more scary based off the fact that in every city, major or not, there are some youth that are some complete idiots and clowns and morons out here playing with firearms. And they will decide at a moment's notice to shoot somebody over some relatively stupid shit. That's just what it is. Now, I see a lot of times that as older adults who have some common sense, they say we should do better, but we are not the people that are doing it. But unfortunately for us, it is our children. So the question is about accountability. And so, just like how we were discussing Bill Crosby and who do we put the blame on here, what we must do is now put the blame on adults for raising and setting up environments for stupid behavior. So, over the weekend of the holiday, there was fireworks, and you know how the 4th of July go. Now, the 4th of July is always a time period where you have a certain amount of people who just don't give a damn about what time they say y'all supposed to be done shooting off fireworks. You're going to let fireworks go off all night long. You have been waiting and waiting and waiting for your chance to let off these fireworks. You don't care. And I understand it. But that also calls for me, as I've always said my whole life, 4th of July is kind of crazy because it is the setup for, lack of a better way to say this, somebody might get popped. So, over the weekend, there have been several shootings because of youthful people deciding that I'm going to let off the gun. I don't care. Whether it's in public spaces, late night, based off you want to wild out, or he owe me money, I'ma shoot at you right now. It was going down. And for the gun responsible, we're always like, damn, not this bullshit again. Now, those of us that come from Black America, larger metropolitan America, we've seen this summer after summer. We know that there's going to be a couple clowns doing clown shit. We know it. They're going to ruin the park picnic. They are going to fuck up the Friday night party. They are going to ruin the weekend holiday season, right? You know, we get 3 holidays in the summer. They are there to, for lack of a better way to say it, fuck it up. So as we, as adults, look at this, we are always concerned because we're scared for our children, our seeds, those youth that we have love for in our family, our cousins, our nephews, so on and so forth. And we're constantly trying to tell them to stay out of the way. Don't involve yourself in all of the hood shenanigans, but we know for them it's like being a moth to the flame. They are drawn to the bee in the worst places humanly possible. And sometimes they find themselves in harm's way. And we feel like we're failing because we told them not to do it, but we didn't go the extra mile. You know, we weren't painting a complete picture of what it could be like. Like, being shot is not glamorous. With the proper aim, you could be laying down forever. Doesn't matter the caliber of firearm, it is highly possible for someone to kill you with a 2.2 if they hit you in the right spot. Larger the caliber, the more likely you don't breathe no more. So this ain't no fun experience to go through. For those people that are like me who have been stabbed before, we can tell you that is an kind of feeling. I can only imagine how much that metal burn. So I know that even though I am a large lover of firearms, I have the respect for them to know that they can cause great bodily harm and not to wield them willy-nilly. But the youth don't understand that. They don't get that as a message. So when it becomes hot, they get out and do crazy things. And like I said, as parents, you're trying to teach your children not to do this. And a lot of times we fail in that effort because we're not going the extra mile. So I guess that brings me back to the point of when they tell you to do better. So I guess we as adults must double our efforts. We as adults must put in more time with our children and our children's friends to get them to understand that gunplay is not something that is easily walked away from, and you do not want to harm the innocent. We must make that a point. We must stand on that, because in today's times we have too many who see being shot and being seen playing with firearms as it don't matter, but understand it does. I say that because over the weekend there was many hoods in America where there was shootings where people had got hit. Not necessarily died, but they were hit. And see, even for survivors, that is something that is going to be a psychological scar. It's going to be some type of trauma. So just because you survive it doesn't mean that it won't affect you. So because there were so many firearms being used in such a horrific manner, my plea is for adults out there to try to give their children the guidance, and the youth as a whole the guidance, to understand this is something that is not to be played with. Taking a life is not something that should be taken lightly. And if done under wrong pretenses, and let me say that again, under wrong pretenses, it could end you. And when I mean end you, I mean send you directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $100. You are in that bitch over some petty shit that you decided to be macho and fire off a firearm. You decided to be tough and shoot off your gun. And now you are laying down for 30, 40, or life over, he owed me $200. He smashed my girlfriend. He talked crazy to me. Right? So as parents, we have to point them to those scenarios and say that is still not enough for you to lay down forever. That's not going to work. That's not going to go. That is our job. That is what we need to be doing. But you know how it go. So I just wanted to rant about that because, I'm always talking that 2A shit. Second Amendment all day, right to bear arms. But when some left field shit go down with guns, I feel like I need to speak on that as well, just to make sure that people understand that I am counterbalanced and I'm not going to pretend like it don't happen. So with that being said, thank you very much. Hope that you understood and liked the Judge Joe Brown, breakdown. And I hope the rain in the background don't sound too crazy. You know. So this has been the Sunday put out Monday unnecessarily late night rant. I have enjoyed being your guy, Simon Phoenix. Shots fired. You know what we say. Like, share, and subscribe wherever you are listening to the show. Please understand that we are on all platforms. That means Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Google Play. And you can definitely catch me on Spotify. You heard? You're listening? So let me slide up out of here. I appreciate hanging out with y'all. Shout out to all my people that's been to the show. I have been Simon Phoenix. This has been Shots Fired. I holla.